Get Up's Mike Greenberg ranked his top 5 pairings in NBA history. You can marinate on this. Look at them here. Magic and Scotty at 1, Magic and Kareem at 2, Shaq and Kobe at 3, Cousy and Russell at 4, and rounding out the top 5 is Steph Curry and Kevin Durant. Let's welcome in the host of Get Up, our friend Mike Greenberg in the house. Good to see you.
Buddy? Yes, I'm the one who puts up with Jalen the other 2 hours of the day.
Yes.
I try as best as I can. Good to be back,
Thanks
you guys.
for babysitting.
Welcome back after all of your travels.
Thank you.
It was very quiet around here in your absence.
Did you enjoy it?
I mean, you know, a little piece of quiet every now and again. It's kind of
we
nice.
tend to be a little loud over here, or they do at least. Stephen A.,
Yeah.
Did Greeny get that list right?
Somewhat. I mean, I agree with his top 5. I just would have had Steph Curry and Kevin Durant above Russell and Cousy, only because Russell and Cousy is BC, basically. You know, I mean, it's a long time ago. I mean, I see tapes and highlights, you know what I'm saying? But I never really watched them. And obviously, the NBA, the parity that exists in the NBA today compared to back then, obviously is glaring. So for me, I wouldn't go there. But MJ and Scottie Pippen definitely a number 1. Magic and Kareem, because Kareem is the all-time leading scorer, 19-time All-Star, the only individual in the history of the game with an unstoppable move. Had one move, the skyhook, and there was nothing you could do about it. From the time he started till the day he finished, there was nothing you could do about it. And we all know Magic is Magic. Shaq and Kobe don't deserve to be ahead of Kareem and Magic because Shaq and Kobe parted ways. Had you stayed together, had a better relationship, you would have won about 5 or 6 titles, and then maybe we would have put them ahead of Magic and Kareem. But that was not the case, and so that's why I think they belong at 3. And then Kevin Durant and Steph Curry. You're talking about Kevin Durant, one of the greatest players we've ever seen, and you're talking about Steph Curry, the greatest shooter that we've ever seen. If Kyrie and LeBron had 1 more title, stayed together 1 more title, they basically got the Kobe Shaq syndrome in terms of parting ways a bit prematurely. I think hurts them. You could put D-Wade and LeBron up in there, but they lost 2 and won 2 titles.
And Wade was a little faded by that time.
And Wade was faded the last 2 titles, the last 2 trips to the finals, 1 title, 1 loss, because of health-wise, because of health issues. That's why, but they get honorable mention. Joe Dumars and Isaiah Thomas, they deserve consideration simply because they won 2 titles back and went to 3 straight NBA finals and won 2 titles. But I have no problem with the top 5.
I had the exact same list, except that Cousy and Russell, I think when you talk about BC, pre-3-point shot, pre-absorption of the ABA teams, also like guys like Havlicek and Hines, I know that they weren't exactly in their prime, but when you have a team where it's not just Russell and Cousy, you have a lot of all-stars on that team. I don't think it's quite the same. I think AD and LeBron on paper is 4. But 1 is Jordan and Pippen because you have Michael Jordan with another almost MVP caliber player. That's 1, and you look at the record. Magic and Kareem are 2, yes. I would say this about Shaq and Kobe, though. Magic did this in his career. He ascended throughout his career. Like we retroactively say, oh, it was Magic and Bird. No, not in the beginning. In the beginning, Bird was clearly better than Magic. And by the end, Magic was clearly better than Bird. And they were about even through the middle of their primes before Bird's back injury. But Kareem was down by the time Magic was all the way up. Concentrated greatness. Shaq and Kobe were arguably the 2 best players in the game in their primes when they played together. The only other guy in the conversation, to me, really, was Tim Duncan. So that is a special thing, and sure enough, they 3-peated, right? So their career accomplishments together weren't as great, but their peak was maybe better than Magic and Kareem. And then Curry and Durant, right? You have 2 MVP-level players on the same team.
Last thing before you go.
Yeah.
Honorable mention, Larry Bird, Kevin McHale.
Yeah,
3
for
titles.
sure.
Can't forget them.
Those are the ones I was considering. The other ones that did not make the list. So now I'll give the arguments against myself, because obviously my list speaks for itself. Stockton and Malone was one I had a very tough time taking off the list. If they had won a single, well, they didn't win, right? At the end of the day, they just never won. They stayed together so much longer than any of the rest of these on this list, practically combined, including Michael and Scotty. Michael and Scotty, I felt like I had to do it based largely on the fact that they just never lost. When they were at their best, we never really saw anyone beat them. In Chicago, we used to have an expression, minimum 8-peat, that if it hadn't been for all the machinations there,
totally agree.
who knows what they might have ultimately accomplished. Then on Kareem and Magic versus Shaq and Kobe, I understand what you're saying. If you put those teams against each other, I might take Shaq and Kobe. But at the end of the day, they stayed together longer, they won more, and in my opinion, historically, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is a greater player than Shaq, and Magic Johnson is a greater player than Kobe.
Let me put it this way. There's never been a team with two players in their primes who were as great as Shaq and Kobe were in terms of the rest of the league at the same time. Like, Scottie Pippen was not quite Shaq or Kobe. As I said, Magic and Kareem's primes never truly overlapped at their very peak.
There is
never been like that.
Well, there is one potential exception to what you're saying, and that depends on just how high on Steph Curry you are. If Steph Curry, there are people who will tell you they believe Steph Curry is one of the 2 or 3 best players in basketball right now. If he is, no one is disputing that Kevin Durant is. So actually, those two would fit that. They would have won the championship. If Kevin Durant was standing up, they would have won the championship.
If Steph Curry is what they're saying, then they would have won the finals instead of Kawhi.
Bottom line is this: Steph Curry is the greatest shooter we've ever seen.
Right.
I think there's no argument there. But I want to throw this at both of you because I'm interested in hearing what you think. Kobe Bryant, to me, is a better individual talent than Magic Johnson. What makes Magic Johnson great? There's no way on earth Magic Johnson and Shaq would have parted. Magic Johnson and Kareem would have parted. Magic Johnson, as great as he was as a point guard, the greatest part of Magic Johnson is his leadership. You wanted to play with Magic Johnson. And Magic Johnson made sure you wanted to play. I've never heard of one single player in the history of the Lakers organization that ever wanted to leave Magic Johnson.
When Magic Johnson,
and that matters.
When Magic Johnson walks into a room, he makes everyone in the room, to this day, want to be the best version of themselves. He just got it.